That pissed me off.
Hey,
Anyway, go ahead. Where are you at with it?
I was gonna say I was gonna give you like a improv topic real quick, just based off Netflix that I just read and I just found really interesting, and I wanted your take on it.
Hmm.
Uh, it was for the production of this film. Matt Damon, kind of went around did interviews and stuff. So apparently he was on some sort of podcast, I think with Joe Rogan. And he was just like, I don't even know who was supposed to say this, but he was like, yeah, from my experience working with Netflix, they tell us like specifically that we have to repeat the plot purposefully every time, like every like 3 or 4 times during the movie purposefully, because Netflix believes that if you're watching it at home, that people will forget the plot because they're doing something else while watching the movie. So I thought that was really interesting. Come just like as Netflix buys everything and now moves us on the screen, they're going to probably still cater to their home audience as well. So there's going to be a scenario where these movies come out and randomly while you're sitting down, there's going to be the plot just randomly going to repeat itself like 2 or 3 times. I'm just like, I wonder how that's going to change like that experience. I just found that really interesting.
That's insane.
I know I hate to throw that on you, but I read that I was like, God, I need Charlie's reaction to this.
So that concept as a whole is one that I can understand for streaming. If they're getting into like movie theaters, I'm not too worried about it, especially if they have buying Warner Brothers, just for the factor of yes, streaming will be a thing, but they're also in the business of dominating the box office, and they can't afford to be turning out a bunch of slop at the box office. Now, will they try to dumb things down? If it's like an action movie, like if they're putting out like Red One from Last Christmas, where it was like The Rock and Chris Pratt, where they're just having fun, it's cool. They'll probably do that for that, or like the newer Batista and Jason Momoa movie on that's going to be on I think Apple TV, where they're gonna
Mhm.
be brothers and like that. Shit like that. It's not an issue.
Cool.
But when you're looking at like a bigger like set piece, um, but yeah, it's kind of wild. Again, that doesn't surprise me as far as the mandate goes, because again, there's always when you look at early entertainment. There's always been crazy mandates for stuff like I want people to go back in. I need to do a video on this at some point. Like the early Comics Code Authority back in the day, like back during like the 40s or the 50s, maybe the 60s when comics were kind of still in their infancy. The Comics Code Authority, when they came about, were really fucking hard on what they allowed in comic books. Like you couldn't allow villains to win. Villains always had to be defeated and put in jail at the end of the story. You
Right.
couldn't have certain levels of violence or certain things at all in the books because they were so scared of like propaganda being used against like children or like creating a lot of bad behaviors. Like horror comics had like a renaissance during like I think like the 70s or the 80s probably, because they really went like a major thing back then because they weren't allowing that shit in the comic books for the most part.
Right.
Um, so that doesn't surprise me in regards to that being a thing, and I mean it's probably like an unofficial thing that was there in regards to like doing that, but it's interesting. Dreamer, to explain your point, because I could probably like re-explain it now since I may just end up cut. Oh, I'm not gonna cut the shit out. It is what it is. Um, with the beginning of the video, we pretty much broke down how with this movie, a new deal that has never been done in cinema before was brokered between Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, and the studio of Netflix, where they were allowing all the crew members from people on boom arms to makeup to special effects to clothing, whatever it may be, they're all going to get equity essentially in the film to where as the movie does well and if it hits bigger heights and success, all the crew will then get bonuses. They'll get paid bonus. All 1,200 members of the crew will get a bonus. So as this movie is successful, the crew is directly going to benefit from that, which is something that's never been done before, and it's something that's probably going to end up changing the way that movies are done going forward. Because if they were able to get this off and see how beneficial this was for the people, and especially when you look at like SAG-AFTRA, and like, I don't know what the name of the union is for people that work on production. I don't think they're in SAG. Um, like they're
Hmm.
probably gonna start making. They're gonna all start fighting for this more. And I talked about it earlier. If more directors that have cachet and pull, like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, they fight for that, they can probably get that same deal off for a lot of different people. And if they don't get that deal, and let's say I'm Ryan Coogler, right, or Jordan Peele, I'm pitching a movie to Paramount, and I'm like, hey Paramount, here's this movie that I think is going to be the next big thing. I think it's going to be the next centers in theaters. I want to give this movie to you guys and make it with you, and want you to produce it. But I want all the people within my crew to get that bonus that we saw that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon got. We want that same deal. If they say no, shit, I can get this shit somewhere else. I may just go straight to Netflix. And so if you're a studio and you want the best talent, unless you're gonna throw a massive bag at the director and the director just doesn't care to get his people paid, you're going to have to start brokering deals like this now because the cat's out of the bag. The leak in the hole has been already established, and there's no plug in that fucking hole.
No. And again, to your last point you mentioned earlier, it also makes me look at people sideways, like the Tarantinos and the other directors that could have done this at any point, but didn't do it. It's like, and it's like, I don't, you have the, I understand there's probably fear into changing up the status quo of what old Hollywood is, but if you have that leverage and that much love fear, that's kind of the point of why you have that extra leverage because you know that you can do that without getting any pushback compared to somebody like a Jordan Peele and Ryan Coogler, where Ryan Coogler just does one thing about like, oh, I just want my rights after 25 years, and people are just up in arms about that. So it's interesting.
So, and also to give some context to people that aren't really tapped in with like how that stuff works, because I know Ethan even gave me this amount of knowledge I didn't even know because I thought this was something that was just now fought for. SAG and a lot of these other people in these unions have been fighting for this for years. This has been a thing and a conversation for a long time now. But it took Matt Damon or like somebody in the heights of their career that had that much cachet to get that over. Like this is the unions have been fighting for this forever now. So them especially, they're going to fight for that, especially seeing like how much is not going to harm the actual profit for the movie. Because at that point, if you pay these people bonuses, is it going to harm the money that you're making as during the film? It's not going to hurt your ROI. What reason would you have for not giving them a bonus at that point? If you're going to make plenty of money, you can give a fraction of that money to the people in that set, especially when they're not going to be working for months to maybe a year in between all that stuff, between like job to job or gig to gig. So. Yeah, and like Jimmy, yeah, it seems like Matt's for the people. Yeah, my boy Matthew is for the people. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are two individuals that I did not know were riding with the people like that. Well, at least for now, because they definitely, at least again, this part of this climate has me fucked up. I saw them, and I'm like, evil white man. I don't know. They just look, they fit the stereotype of like conservative capitalist in my mind of like the aesthetic. But hearing Ben Affleck talk about it, and I think I advise y'all if y'all haven't seen the interview he did with All the Smoke. It was a dope one, and I think he did kind of bring up this deal tangentially when talking about the Ryan Coogler deal.
Ben Affleck, he's one of my favorite type of white people, the ones that look evil but are actually for the cause.
He said it's because they're from Boston. Yeah, that's because the Boston white folks. Yeah, they scared me. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have every right to be a little hesitant.
Y'all probably just cutting the stream to that, so we don't have it to fucking echoing because I already explained it. Yeah, thank you, Dreamer, for letting us know that. Because if I did not know that, we went through this entire stream with me echoing like crazy. Getting directly into the next topic, though. This is another thing that I really wanted to discuss, mostly based on the factor of it is going to be a major thing for not only, well, it's not gonna be a big thing for movies and gaming, but it's big news for gaming, we'll say. My boy, well, I ain't gonna say my boy, I'm not super familiar with Buddy. Our guy Ryan Hurst was officially cast as Kratos in the God of War series that is coming to Amazon Prime. This is something that has been rumored for a very long time now in regards to who's going to play Kratos, what the show's going to look like, all that good stuff. And now we have our Kratos. And I think the fun thing about this is that Ryan Hurst plays Thor in God of War Ragnarok. So he's already like pretty familiar with this universe. And I want to kind of have a little bit, we'll have a quick discussion on, you know.
Oh my God, that first comment.
Oh yeah, we're going to get into it. First and foremost, I'm glad they're moving on with the project. And a take that I have that I put in the recent video where I discussed it not personally, but this me by myself. I hope that this show is not just a rehashing and retelling of the God of War story of the game. I played the game. The storytelling in the game is amazing. At least in my opinion, you're not going to get any. Well, you probably get near it, but you're not going to touch the level of amazingness that game was in the way it told stories in a show, because when you have limited time and you have limited perspective, you can show this thing from. But I understand that these shows are not for us. They're not for gamers. They're not for people that played the game. They are for the casual audience that has never played a God of War game or even doesn't even know who Kratos is, because they're trying to get you interested in going to play the game. And I get that. But I think there can be a best of both worlds in this, especially in this situation, because for people that aren't aware, there's an entire like comic book run showcasing how Kratos got from Greece to the Northlands. Like he pretty much went on his pilgrimage and like traveled away from Greece after opening up Pandora's box and finishing the Greek pantheon. So there's this whole like in between where he's fighting some monsters there, he's reflecting on his life up until the point he meets his wife. And it kind of like settles down. So I would have loved for them to just be able to tell that story instead of literally going through and just rehashing what we've already seen. And again, if they do, I understand it. I know where it comes from, but even with something like The Last of Us that did that for the most part, they have moments in there where you're looking at, I think, episode like 4 or 5 of the first season, to where they really dove in on Bill, I believe was the name of the side character, to where in the game, you only really heard Bill. I think you only saw or heard of Bill through a note that was found by Ellie. So you didn't really get to meet him for real, or like you heard Joel talk about him through passing. In the show, we had an entire episode showcasing his life with his husband and showcasing like gay love and all that and how they went about that, and how that was probably my favorite episode of that season and probably one of my favorite episodes of a show I've seen in a while, because that shit literally brought me to fucking tears and showing that genuine love story, and told it in a concise manner in an hour. Like he went through that, like it felt like the Up sequence, but an hour long and with actual dialogue. It was amazing. So spectacular.
I remember that episode was good.
But yeah, before we get into any deeper thoughts, how do you feel about the guy? I don't know if you're familiar with Ryan Hurst or not. For people that are aware of other things he's been in Sons of Anarchy as well. Outside of this, so I don't. Are you familiar with him?
I think I remember him from Remember the Titans. I think he was in that actually. I can't remember. I can't remember the kid. His face looks so familiar. I think he was on Remember the Titans. But like, I mean, I specifically, and it was probably intentional by the marketing crew. The kind of side by side of him, side face, and Kratos side face. He got the beard for it. Like he's gonna have to shave his head, but I don't know how he feels about that.
Ball nigga. Hey man, ball niggas are up all 2026, bro. Go ahead, though.
But we talked about this last week about casting, like getting the casting, the announcement, like there's fun and joy and being able to have those discussions about that. But my mind's already just going to like, okay, if you chose this person, then that means when he read his lines, he felt like Kratos to you. So I'm just I'm very much looking forward to, we had our own opinions for a lot of folks on who we thought that should have been, but they chose somebody. It's done. There's nothing we can do about it. Now I just want to see how they tell the story, because to your point, playing the first game, and like spoilers, I guess, for people who didn't really play that first game, but like during the middle of it, because for context for me, I didn't play the original first 3 God of Wars from like PlayStation 2 and 3. I only played that first. So it wasn't until that moment when he was on the boat and Athena popped in that I was just like, what the hell is going on here? It's a whole different pantheon. So like, I don't know how they're going to explain that. Like, is there going to be an episode that basically just cuts back to like his younger years and kind of explains the first 3 games and why? Because if they're going to tell, let's just say they tell the story like scene by scene from the game, that scene's going to come up and people are going to be very confused about what that even means. So like, are they going to do like a Last of Us where they just have a whole episode to dedicated to his past life so it makes sense on why he's like, what are you doing here? I killed you.
I can call it now. What they're probably going to end up doing in the first episode is do like a flashback dream sequence of him like killing the Greek pantheon and them also explaining what's going on. And then he'll wake up where he is in modern day, more than likely, where he's at the camp with Atreus. So that's more than likely what's going to happen if they do decide to just go down the route of retelling this story beat for beat. And then as far as the casting goes, my guy, new face, Lawrence Arnoli, bro, I appreciate you thank you for coming through. He brought up the whole fact about him being Thor's voice actor again, that we brought up earlier. I think that's probably why this is the best case scenario of a casting, because they recorded those games in mocap and they were like there acting in scenes with one another. He got to actively see and witness all of Christopher Judge's mannerisms, all his vocal inflections, all the different things that make Christopher Judge an amazing Kratos. And he could emulate a lot of that because you were up close and personal and was with him for months. And more than likely, if he's smart, he's probably on the phone with Christopher Judge now, like asking him like some little different tips and trades on how he can become and embody his character, because you were literally on set and you were across from this character for months on end recording the stuff. So he has the physical build for it. I'm pretty sure he'll probably get in the gym and beef up a little bit more. And then he'll get into all that stuff. Now I want to have a conversation kind of referring to that first comment you saw. And it's the whole idea that people, when this was first brought up in conversation around like the show being greenlit, it was a conversation around Christopher Judge potentially playing the character of Kratos. And it's a role that, Christopher Judge, at least publicly, he was having fun with it. He was saying, hey, I could do it. I'd probably come back and do it, da da da. But there is obviously a big issue around people talking about, well, he's black, so it can't be him. I want to talk about how, one, I understand why people would think that and why people have that perception because it's a Spartan and Spartans are normally white. But I also want to let people know they never really confirmed Kratos' ethnicity whatsoever. The only thing you know about Kratos is that he has a long fucking beard that, again, looking at his beard, it doesn't seem like his beard is very much so like pointing towards a different ethnicity one way or the other. Also, the nigga is literally covered in ash. So whoever plays this role, whether it have been somebody brown, white, or indifferent, they're going to be covered in like white paint, essentially, and white dust. So their skin color would never be a fucking issue or a whole thing. The main reason why I knew Christopher Judge was going to be able to play this character was because of his injury history. And people that are asking may not be aware, he had a pretty substantial injury history during the filming of God of War Ragnarok. When they were recording for this film, for this game in 2019, they had this shit get delayed a lot because during that whole like year, Buddy got back surgery, both his hips replaced, and a knee surgery. And that significantly delayed the game. And then on top of that, later on, a little bit later on, he had to have neck surgery because these are all issues that he had from him playing hockey when he was younger, or just him again, the fact that he's 60 years old, or at least maybe at that point, like late 50s. Again, you would never know it because I remember seeing him at the Game Awards when they were like announcing the Game Awards with him the first time around with after the release of the first game, and Atreus. I never would have guessed like how old Buddy was. He looks, he has he had some work done on his face, so he didn't. You could tell that, but for the most part, he looks pretty good for his age. And he has the build for it, but again, I knew that Buddy wasn't going to be able to do that role or play that role just because the physicality is something that he wasn't going to be able to handle. With that many surgeries to your body, you're not going to be able to be a part of all these physical fight scenes that Kratos is going to be a part of. Because Kratos is getting thrown through buildings, ripping her stuff, ripping. And I think that's another thing too that I also got annoyed with when people talk about the age. Again, it's not the age that I have an issue with. It's just the injury history and the physicality. Because everybody else that people were talking about playing Kratos, when you brought up Gerard Butler or even Ryan Hurst, like they're all old white men as well. These are all older men. So that's the whole thing. That's why my whole thing is it has to be an actor that can, one, act first and foremost. We've talked about that in casting with stuff like the Miles Morales one, but he has to be able to have handle the physicality. Unless you're gonna have like every action scene be a stunt double, which is gonna be really fucking tough to film.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lawrence Anoli says the son is white Atreus, but they could get anyone to change it if they wanted to. And again, even with that shit, like with him having a white son, bro, this is a fantasy universe where we literally went through the Greek pantheon and Norse gods. Like I could not care, because at that point people act like there were never black people at any point. And like I want people to understand, no matter where you are in the world at any point in history, black people existed and black people were around. If you go to ancient Japan, we have black people that were around at that point. If you want to look at the more popular versions or popular stories of being Yasuke from Japan, you look at the fact that we were around during the fucking Greek and Roman, like there were always black people around. And people, again, when people cry for like accuracy when it comes to like God of War, like Spartans or whatever it may be, I'm like, y'all don't want true accuracy, because at that point, half these motherfuckers will be gay.
They can't swallow that.
Like the Spartans are really, for people that don't know, the Spartans are really gay. And that's part of what made them such successful warriors, is the fact when they're during their shield warfare, they encourage romance between one another. So they fought for the person that they loved really fucking heavy. Like that was part of their fucking thing. They were really fucking gay, which is cool. Nothing wrong with that. But if you're gonna cry historical accuracy when it comes to Spartans, like let's keep it a buck. You don't want historical accuracy. You want your perspective of what this character should be. And again, I also don't give a fuck about him being black for the main factor of both the characters that voiced this, both the people that voiced this character that made him as popular as what he was, were both black men. T.C. Carson being the first one and not Christopher Judge. These black men took part in making this character an iconic character. And you could argue that somebody else could have played the role and made him great. I'd argue differently. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's a hypothetical, obviously. and I don't like to deal with too many hypotheticals, but I'm of belief that, bro, there is not so many other people on earth you could get to play this character and make this character pop as well as it did. I think T.C. Carson had his day in being the super angry Kratos, and he talked about how much anger he had when he played that role, and then having somebody in a Christopher Judge who at that point in time discussed like how, and then I want to for people that haven't seen it, I highly advise you guys to go and watch this documentary that was made for the first game a while back, where they sat down and did like a behind the scenes filming of like everything that went into the process, and they were talking to the guy, the writer for the director of it, of the game, whatever it may be. But they also interviewed Christopher Judge, and he was discussing how at that point in life he kind of did this he did this role for his kids for a lot, because I can't remember exactly what he said because I watched this like years ago, but to what I remember, oh my god, who is calling me right now? There, oh my god, okay. That was so loud in my ears. To that point, when they did that, when he did that and he took on that role, he said he had like a strained relationship with his kids, or he did something that like his kids were like kind of like he didn't have the best relationship. So he looked at this role as like a redemption arc for him to be like a great father and kind of showcase that he could be that. And you saw that in the performance that he had in a lot of the vocal performances when he was discussing life or how to be a man, how to just be a good person with Atreus, because he's coming in this role of a character who is reformed and is trying to grow. So yeah, again, I understand why Christopher Judge couldn't take on the role for the physical aspects of it, but I do think there could have been a black person in this role and it would not have been that big of an issue. I think people gas that up. Oh my god. But go ahead. What's your thoughts? Your reactions?
Yeah. It's I mean, to your point about Christopher, I at least for me, I just knew based off his extensive like injury history, like, and he's done enough. Like, he doesn't. What does he have to prove by playing this live action? Like, he's already stole our hearts with his performance, and it's. Hear me out. Hear me out now. Hear me out. Maybe we can talk about this real quick, but like, it almost feels like a lot of people wanted him to do that to kind of solidify his like place as being Kratos, but it's just like it kind of goes into this idea like some people don't think voice acting's acting. And I know they did the motion caption and stuff as well, but it's just like I think sometimes people just assume, oh yeah, like he just voiced that, he didn't do anything else. But like you said, he did all the motions and stuff as well. Like it's like put it like this: all the stuff he did is the same thing that everybody else did for Avatar for those movies. Like they put on the motion capture, they make the scenes, they voice it, and then they just animate it. Except the difference is it's not a movie, this is a video game. So it goes back to this whole medium, like video games being respected as a storytelling source. Because I talk about this all the time. I was telling somebody this the other day, and not to pivot, but it's like I think Baldur's Gate as a story, particularly when it comes to like the Dark Urge storyline, it's like that's a really interesting story about trauma and like religion and like how to go. There's so much that goes into that, and there's like lessons that can really relate to you as you make these decisions. But there's always one person that's like, well, yeah, that's cool, whatever, but it'll hit different if it was on a TV show or a movie. And it's almost like a lot of these studios feel like it's not a solidified story unless it's like a TV show or a movie. But like this God of War series will have to never be made, and I'll still feel the same way about how I felt about that first game. That first game was damn good. That first game made me cry. There's something impactful about that. So it just goes back to this idea of people feeling like things aren't solidified unless it's this medium that they appreciate or like. And to your point, Charlie, you always talk about this with comics too. It's just like, there's just so many mediums that are able to tell these beautiful stories that some mediums simply just cannot do because of budget for whatever reasons. But that's why animation's a thing. That's why comic books are a thing. Like you're able to showcase these things. It doesn't have to be this live action thing because we know you're not going to be like the scene when they're in the boat and the fucking serpent comes. Like it's like there's some scenes that I know is going to be hard to truly replicate it if they don't have the budget for it. But you don't have to worry about being mad about that. You can just go play the game.
And again, to your point about the respect thing, I need people to remember Christopher Judge was an actor. Like he voice acts now and did voice acting for this, but he was in Stargate back he started his career as a traditional actor. And even to your point, even in this, although he voice acted a lot of different roles, but he was mo-capped up. They captured his facial expressions, his movements. Like again, if you haven't watched the documentary, it's a free hour-long documentary that I think PlayStation themselves put out, like Santa Monica Studios put out, and you can go back and watch it and see behind the scenes footage of what they look like. Matter of fact, I'll look for it here. I can show a couple quick clips of it or whatever it may be. But yeah, they actually mo-capped and did a lot of that stuff. Lawrence Arnoli says they based it off of 2018 so they can sell the game for sure. Chris Magneto in it. Yeah. They're doing this version of it because when they announced the show initially, I was curious as to what era of Kratos they were going to start with. I'm like, it would make sense for them to start with the young Kratos, right? So you can like grow and like you could drag it out longer. But I think people understand like they're doing the more frequent games because they're a little bit easier to get into. And I think for the most part, I think they're doing another remaster, like a full overhaul remaster, like graphics remaster of God of War 3 or 1, 2, 3. But I could be wrong because I think the last God of War remaster of God of War 3 was like for PS3 like years ago. Let me see if I can find this thing. Is it still up? Yeah, here it is. It's 6 years ago. The making of Kratos, or the raising. It says it's called Raising Kratos. I'm trying to find.
I love that.
Because I'm not gonna watch too much of it, because I also don't want to end up fucking getting copyright hit.
I mean, is Sony like that? Would Are they serious about?
Brother, Sony.
Why am I shut up? Nobody, everybody's like, is there one studio that's just like, yeah, man, you can just play whatever you want?
Hell no.
Maybe Tubi.
Probably not. Now I'm trying to find the scenes of the mocap. Oh, okay, here we go. Here we go. My bad for the delay, y'all. I had to like make sure I like set this up to where I get clapped.
What are you gonna do? Like put like a filter over or something?
No, just like make sure I took the audio out of it.
That's real. Yeah, I've watched this Raising Kratos before. It's
abandonment.
Really good.
You know, come on, we're human. We've all got our bag of pain. Oh, okay, we'll use that one.
Can we move?
Just one little marker.
Like, this is the shit they were doing for this. Like, they're.
You know, I think as an actor, you always want to feel safe. You always want to, because when you do choose to do that, you can't bring yourself out.
Like, they're full on.
It takes.
Yeah, replay these games.
Like, Buddy is full mocapped up, wearing the full mocap suit. Like, all the movements are captured. Everything that Kratos is doing in this moment in the game is what he's doing in the movements.
Yeah.
When I go
the facial expressions.
And get the blades of chaos. It was probably.
Oh god, it's such a good scene.
There's a crazy scene in the game.
The music. Oh, I gotta play this game again.
I may play this shit again. I ain't gonna hold you. I may boot this back up.
Hey, go ahead and do it as a series, man. Because like that's especially with especially if this starts coming back and getting hype. Why not?
Yeah, we can do that on stream. I can record. Honestly, I'll just do that with you. We'll record that, and we'll just.
Yeah.
If y'all interested in that, y'all let me know. But that's something that even my editor was like, yeah, you should probably start doing like one of those a month at least, and like try to record something and put it out like that, because he liked what we did with the Boys in the Hood thing. But yeah, y'all, that's essentially that with the whole idea of like God of War, Kratos, the casting news. There was a lot. It was for the most part, though, casting was seen positively. I don't think too many people had an issue with Ryan Hurst being casted as it. I think most of it's based off the fact that he has the aesthetic and he was Thor already. Now I'm just curious as to like what the casting gonna look like now, because now that you have Thor playing Kratos, who's playing Thor, are you gonna have all the same actors come back and playing all their same roles? Which I would hope so, because a lot of these characters are like face scan wise based off of the characters in a lot of different manners, and they also mocap their own performances. So it should be easy to just kind of like bring them back and slide them back in there, and then you can play on people's nostalgia for the fans that already played the game, and then for the new people, you still got quality actors there. So I'm curious. Only thing I know that they may not do outright is have Atreus's actor come back, just for the factor of if they're starting from the very beginning. The Atreus actor, he's a bit older now. He's significantly older now. He's probably like, if not late teens, early 20s maybe now. Because this game, he was like what, like 12, maybe 11 or 10 when this game came out 6 years ago. So he's probably up there in age. So he's not gonna be able to play a young version of him anymore. So we'll see how that looks. I'm interested to see what they do with this series. And again, this being the game that I love, I really hope that they do everything with the fans involved, or with the fans in mind. For the most part, what they did with the season 1 of The Last of Us, and then we're going to start seeing a lot more of these with Fallout being successful, and The Last of Us being successful. We're going to see this game, and then I think we have Mass Effect that's going to come right after, not too soon after the fact. So and Assassin's Creed is doing their own one as well. So there's gonna be a lot more game adaptations coming. I just hope that people, when they make them, are a lot more innovative with the process and all that good stuff. But
Yeah.
that's about all I have.
Yeah.
It's going to be a shorter stream today. Before we get up out of here, I wanted to. Do you have anything to promote or plug or anything like that?
I don't got anything to promote. I think you're going to do most of the promotions yourself. I will say, we always do these on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So looking forward to more conversations as more things come in. Because again, we've kind of talked about this: movies, TV shows, the games that are coming out, the news is coming. I think we're going to get a lot of stuff going out. I still, again, with the Netflix point, I still think we're going to have a lot more there. So just looking forward to just being on here and having this conversation with y'all. So
yeah, thank you for tuning in for this stuff. Regards to church announcements, hear ye, congregation. I'm going to promote 2 comics. Obviously, the first one will be my comic, Reaper. If you guys have not checked that out or are not aware, I have made a comic book. Issue 1 is out and available now on echelongraphicnovels.com. I will put the link to that. I'll put the link to that in the description now while I'm sitting here, because I forgot to do that. You guys can go pick up the digital issue for like $5 or order the physical one if you're in the States. If you're outside of the States, I'm sorry, but we just don't ship outside the States at this time, because that's a whole bunch of hurdles to jump through. So yeah, appreciate y'all for that. And if you want to support, or if you have read issue 1 and want to support issue 2, the Kickstarter is up, and that link will be in the description below as well. So again, thank you guys so much for supporting that. If you have, or if you will at one point, thank you. In regards to the second comic, this is more so going to be, I guess, be stealing a little bit of a segment from the Pull List Theory show that I'm doing with Kaori on Sundays again. If you guys want to see more comics or conversations about comic books and whatever it may be, Sundays is when I'm going to be doing that with Kaori. But I'm going to be promoting a book that just came out recently that I just recorded a review on, Cyberpunk 2077 Chrome, that is done by my guy, Doug Wagner. He is the same writer that wrote I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer, Vinyl, Plush, all those horror books that I've discussed on the channel. And I think I even interviewed him like mid last year about his run with I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer. And he will be coming back. I think when his next book with Image that's going to drop, Narco, his next installment in his horror universe, he's going to come back on and we'll talk about that. And we'll also talk about this. But this series is going to be a 4-issue limited run, horror run with Dark Horse that is going to be taking place in the Cyberpunk universe. And again, if you guys played that game, you already know, like I put in hours upon hours in that game and lost myself in that game. That shit is like damn near like GTA Baldur's Gate level of addictiveness in regards to how much time I put into that game. So this kind of definitely just feels like a DLC pack of this, like a horror DLC pack. Where you're gonna get into this small story around essentially Jason Voorhees in the Cyberpunk universe for the most part, and kind of go through that whole thing. So it seems cool from issue 1. Issue 2 will be coming out March 11th. You guys can go to your local comic book shop and find it there. And again, if you guys are fans of the first issue, add that shit to your pull list and support my guy Doug so he gets more dope stories out. Because again, he is just a master of writing dope stories in like 5 issues or less. Like he is really good at being efficient with his writing. So I love promoting Doug when I get a chance. And again, you will see him back on the channel at some point soon in the next couple months. And yeah, outside of that, again, if you guys have made it this far into the stream, please like this video, like the stream, subscribe to the channel, make sure that you have all notifications checked on the notification bell so you don't just get whatever YouTube decides to send you, that you get everything that I have to offer here in the channel. As well as, again, just, staying in tune with what I got going on, man. We have a lot of stuff coming in regards to content. Black History Month is going to be a fun month. Me and Jordan recorded some fun stuff in regards to cinema and black movies.
Ricky!
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good month, so I advise you guys stay tuned for all that good stuff that I have coming to the channel. And again, y'all, this has been Captain Diesel and Jordan of Captain Diesel's Dojo. Y'all, remember, forever and always.
You're now watching the Captain.
Be good people, y'all. See y'all next time. Next week. Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Peace.